when people are worried about being able to get access to something, there's a lack of supply in the market. When there's a
Mhm.
lack of supply and there are people who need it, like you and I driving our cars around,
Yep.
there's still a need, but there's less supply. The market's going to rally for that reason.
Yeah.
And then, the fear may subside and that supply chain issue, whatever it may be, gets resolved. And that's what causes the market to do these whipsaw moves.
Online Trading Academy. Jordan Matthews, I want to talk about the futures market and why, in your opinion, just real quick, kind of give a recap on what the futures market is and then why somebody would want to utilize that for more of like an income style strategy.
Yeah, sure. So, futures is an interesting market because you get access to a lot of things that the average person might not think about. For example, you can trade some of the equities like the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, things that we're aware of, but you also get access to commodities like crude oil, you get natural gas exposure, you can trade interest rates, which of course are big in the news right now with
Yeah.
the market the way it is.
Hmm.
You have access to the metals, gold and silver, which a lot of people think, oh, just buy some physical gold and hold on to it. But here's a way to actually own and have exposure to gold without having to deal with physically holding it and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You also get some advantages in the sense of leverage, where,
Okay.
if you happen to be a person who wants to get involved with the markets and start to trade, you can do it with a much smaller account because of the nature of futures have a leveraging effect where your
Hmm.
money is able to control more of something without having to put many, many, many thousands of dollars into an investment.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the stock market. It actually ties up a lot of your capital.
It's very capital intensive.
Yeah, so let's just say, we have a lot of listeners that are they probably work during the day, and the stock market is only open 6.5 hours a day. So do you have opportunities other times, or what's your thoughts on trading at night even?
Sure. Well, the cool thing about futures is it's really a 23-hour a day market.
Hmm.
Of course, there are better times to trade it and like that. But when you trade something like currency futures, where you get access to the Japanese yen or you get access to the Swiss dollar or even the euro, which of course everyone, if you've traveled at all, you've probably dealt in euros at some point.
Hmm.
Those markets are most actively traded not during the 6.5 hours that the stocks are open.
Yeah.
You can trade in the middle of the night. London is their market opens at 1 in the morning for us or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. There's opportunity, whether it's the London session, the Asian session, you have all sorts of things you can trade.
Yep. So with some of these commodities, I mean, commodities is a futures opportunity, like you were talking about gold, silver, and oil. I mean, that's been in the news. We kind of talked a little bit at the beginning of the show here about oil. What are your thoughts on oil? Why do you think it shot straight up and shot straight down? Is it the news that's driving that, or is it actually supply and demand?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think what it is when people are worried about being able to get access to something, there's a lack of supply in the market. When there's a
Hmm.
lack of supply and there are people who need it, like you and I driving our cars around,
Yep.
there's still a need, but there's less supply. The market's going to rally for that reason.
Yeah.
And then, the fear may subside and that supply chain issue, whatever it may be, gets resolved. And that's what causes the market to do these whipsaw moves. But the news is almost lagging in some sense to what's actually truly happening in the market.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the insight, Jordan. Jordan Matthews from Online Trading Academy and actually teaching a class here locally in Minneapolis.
It's true. It's going well.
Students are loving it here this week. So I appreciate you coming on the show here today and talking about the futures market.